Excelsior, true believers, and this is Modular Media's No Prize Podcast, the podcast where we talk about Marvel movies, TV shows, and comics. I am your host, Chris Gaston, and with me, as always, is my friend and partner in these endeavors,
the Vacuuminator. How's it going, folks?
And this is the first episode of just the excuse to talk about everything Marvel.
New show. Oh, there's nobody here. They can't chant me.
Yep. But like I said, this is the No Price Podcast where we talk about Marvel movies, TV shows, comics, cartoons, video games, whatever is relevant, toys, merchandise, and also the distinguished competition.
I can talk about Marvel Legends and Supergirl on here.
Yep.
And I will.
But
making it sound like a threat.
But who's the one who has that issue of Infinite Crisis?
All I'm saying is don't ever let me in your house because I will steal it.
It's not that rare a book, is it?
I will steal it.
Go to your local comic book store and go through their fucking backlogs.
That's like work, and also I don't actually collect floppies, so no.
See, I know if I have a regular source of income, I'm just gonna have boxes and boxes of floppies.
That's the fun thing about floppies, man. Like, just ignoring the reason we're doing this podcast. The floppies are like, to most of the earth, they are literal garbage. But there's like maybe 4% of comic book fans out there who love floppies more than life itself. And without them, the industry could not function, so you gotta appreciate it.
Like, all the books that people go like, oh yeah, no, you gotta read the trade. It's so good on the trade. I just go like, no, I want give me the floppy paper.
Give me that raw, unprocessed garbage.
I want to collect all 12 issues in floppy of Watchmen. I want all 12 issues of floppy of Hawks and Pox.
I mean, Hawks and Pox, you could probably walk into a comic book store right now and do that for cover price.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not saying, I'm just more saying, like, anybody who says, like, oh, you should read Hawks and Pox would go, like, you should read the trade. It puts it all in the right order. You're good to go, you know?
I mean, you can also look up the trade's reading order if you're reading it. Just don't be an idiot who reads Hawks and then Pox. You need to, there's a proper reading order, and there's like a point where it stops going back and forth and you read 2 issues of Hawks and then 2 issues of Pox. It's weird.
Yeah, but the story itself is really good because you recently went through that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and I liked it so much that I ordered the free first trades of Dawn of X, and they'll be here on Monday.
Bangarang. But we could talk more about X-Men in a bit because, hey, that is Marvel.
Yeah.
The thing that most people are probably tuning into this podcast to talk about, to listen to for opinions, for thoughts, for theories, for analysis is John Krasinski. That's a Mr. Sunday reference. Do you watch it?
Look, it's Mephisto.
Oh, hey, look, they're going to Madripoor.
They sure are, buddy.
I will have the biggest goddamn pop if they get to that episode and they go like, we're going to Madripoor, and I go like, fuck, dude.
You literally just turn into that Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Ah, it's Madripoor. And I will fucking lose my mind if just someone goes like, oh yeah, Patches in Madripoor. It's just like,
Patches is Wolverine, right?
Patches is Wolverine's like secret identity in Madripoor.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a bartender.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like, oh, I'm going to go see Patches. It could be like, oh, I haven't seen Patches in a bit.
We haven't even talked about the episode yet, but I just want to say it would be the best fucking thing if they just stealth debut Wolverine in the MCU as a random bartender.
That'd be hilarious. But like, that's the thing about Wolverine. He's such a fun character. Like, you could just throw him anywhere and you go like, oh, it's Wolverine. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Wolverine, the comic book equivalent of Jell-O.
Yeah. Like, because here's the thing. Wolverine fought in World War II with Captain America.
Mm-hmm. He was one of the Howling Commandos.
Yep. I still think that's just like a fucking amazing retcon. It's like, wait a second. We had a guy who was alive there who was a soldier. Fuck it. Let's do it. I want more stories with Captain America and Wolverine just being buddies.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is Falcon and Winter Soldier. quest for who's going to be America's next top ass.
It is Falcon. It is Wingsman and
Boy versus racist guy.
Racism played a bigger part in this episode than I thought it would.
Really? Have you read the run it's adapting?
No, I know, but like it's adapting parts of that, but I thought, oh, there's going to be a little bit more of something else. Like I didn't know exactly what I was going to be going for.
Well, it does also I guess we'll just kind of jump all over the place. No cohesiveness to this.
Fuck cohesiveness.
The Sam portions are like partially adapting Nick Spencer's Captain America run, or at least the portion with the Falcon Cap book, because there was a Falcon Cap and a Steve Cap book, and then Secret Empire. But we'll not get into that. But then the Bucky portions, and I was so happy about this. They're like low-key adapting Kyle Higgins' Winter Soldier book from like 2 or 3 years ago now, which I read as it came out and was like one of my favorite books that year.
That's good. It's just more of like the specific form of racism that Sam faced in this episode. Because I was expecting the wait, you're black in Captain America? That doesn't make sense kind of racism that that was kind of permeated through that Captain America run.
Mm-hmm.
While here, it's much more of like a subtle, yeah, it doesn't matter how much you helped us. I don't think you're financially stable enough to get this loan, that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, he's facing systemic racism rather than Nazi shouting in your face racism.
Yeah. But like that's the kind of racism that, at least in the real world, when those kind of things, when he was announced to be the next Captain America, kind of happened,
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's happening with the new Captain America. I haven't looked into it. I think it's a new character who's gay, LGBT at least.
Are you talking about America Chavez?
No, the the new one. It's like a.
I have not heard anything about this.
I've seen like the character design and they look fine.
Okay.
It's about this is all here you are. That's I'm trying to find the article for it. So
excellent. This is wonderful.
Excellent content.
Our first episode off to a great start.
Yep. He looks like a punk, kind of like not like in a
like a punk rocker.
Yeah, like he has a mohawk.
Mm-hmm. But like. Okay, let's focus on the Sam portion first, and we'll do the Bucky the Bucky section second, because Bucky's kind of like the middle of this, and then Sam bookends it, I would say. But like all the stuff with Sam is super interesting because he's got this whole thing at the beginning where he's basically doing what Cap was doing, or what Steve was doing at the beginning of Winter Soldier. Like, literally, he fights Batroc, who was in the beginning of Winter Soldier. Which I was really excited to see, honestly. I hope they keep that actor around just for when they eventually get to Gwenpool. And, like, then we get a really interesting bit of character stuff sprinkled all throughout this, where, like, he is doubting himself more than anything. As much as he's trying to fix things in the real world, in like his own personal world, he doesn't want to deal with the world's bigger problems, and he doesn't want to deal with the problem of, well, what do you do with the shield if Steve's not around? And so he hands it off to the Smithsonian, presumably, at the beginning of the show, and then Rhodey's like, yo, why the fuck did you do that? That's not a good idea. Which, by the way, is nice to see Rhodey, too. Rhodey's like, why the fuck did you do that? You could have taken up the shield. It would have been fine. And he's just like, I didn't wanna. Didn't feel nice. Didn't feel right to me. And then he goes back home to Louisiana, which I meant to ask, is his sister and nephews from the comics at all? I'd never heard of them before.
I'm not sure. Let me look.
Okay. Well, while you're looking, for Blip or whatever we're calling it, and his sister is pretty much done with it. She's like, we need to just like sell off as much as we can and make back our losses and move on to something else. And he's like, no, this is the family business. We can't let this die. And she's like, bitch, you were gone in the army and in with the Avengers for how long, and now you want to come back? That's not what? No. And it's like it's a very relatable family dynamic for a lot of people. That I enjoyed seeing put to screen. Especially during the scene where they go to the bank, as you were alluding to earlier, with that absolute pencil neck dweeb, thimble-brained hadrosaur of a banker who fucking says, "I always wanted to be an Avenger." Like, Jesus Christ. That guy was super uncomfortable, and I'm sure that's how it was supposed to come off.
Yeah, because like it's a very realistic portrayal of racism that like under context isn't racism, but in context it's a weird nebulous thing, because ultimately, realistically, yeah, their business technically hasn't made money, and like technically he hasn't had an income for 5 years, and like technically he's right as a banker to go like no to the loan. But like if a white family, if Captain America was in that chair, he'd go like, yeah, no, loan, here you go, you're Captain America.
Mm-hmm. And also like it's also really good world building, because he says that like all the banks are shutting down, all the banks are being racist right now because of the snap, because everybody's coming back and asking for loans, which is great. I love just the continued little bit of MCU world building in relation to the snap that we have carrying over from WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you see that like they officially said this takes place like 6 months after Endgame, which means it's after WandaVision but before Far From Home?
Yep. I'm really glad that they literally did do the time skip, because now they can play with the timeline 10 times easier and not have to fucking worry about like the weird continuity thing with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Marvel has already like kind of screwed up the timeline in relation to the real world before that, because in Iron Man 3, there's a white guy president, but Obama appeared as like stock footage of the president in a previous Marvel film. So in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Obama is a one-term president.
Mm.
And getting back to Sam, like, oh, okay,
That's the new Cap.
That's the new Cap, and he's what's the sexuality on this person?
Gay teen.
Okay.
Aaron Fisher.
All right, that works. That's interesting. We'll see how that goes.
The best way I can describe it's a weird thing. He reminds me, this version of Captain America reminds me of like Steel to Superman.
Mm-hmm. It's a homemade version.
It's a homemade working class version of a bigger hero, because they're inspired by that hero's ideals.
Yeah.
Generally, I like Steel as a concept, as a character. I haven't read much with them, but like I like that.
From what I've heard, he's got like 2 good stories, and one of those stories is his debut story with all the Supermen, and then the other story is his side story in 52.
Oof.
Yeah. But yeah, Sam's stuff is really good, really solid, especially when like the stuff starts to pop off with the Flag Smashers, who I know are from the comics, but I have no knowledge of them in the comics, so they're like super interesting to me.
Well, in the comic, Flag Smasher is one dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they turned it into, and they basically they turned him into Retribution.
Wrestling reference for those of you who don't watch wrestling but are tuning into this podcast.
Yeah. So too much crossfeed with all of our fucking interests. And yes, Sam does have a sister in the comics.
Okay.
She debuted February 1971.
Interesting, because I've read 2 different Sam solo runs, and she doesn't pop up in either of them. I wonder if she's like died at some point before those ones.
Well, one of his nephews is dead.
Oh no.
He died in 94.
Oh no. I don't know if there's much else I could say about just The fact that stuff starts popping off with the Flag Smashers, and then immediately you go into the cliffhanger of this episode, which is just the debut of U.S. Agent and his Casey Neistat looking face. And
Goddamn.
did you not notice?
No, I did. Everybody, like, so many people were talking about that. I saw on like the Reddit reaction thread. It's just like, God damn it, you're right.
And it's funny, like, if you go back in our archives, there's an episode of Analytical Fanboys where I talk about watching the second where I talk about watching 22 Jump Street for the first time, and the actor who plays US Agent is in that as a side character, and in that discussion I said that he looked like Hangman Adam Page because he did in that movie.
Well, you know who he is, right?
Wyatt Russell?
Yeah, he's the son of Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first father and son duo to be in the Marvel franchise.
Yeah.
Also, in the comics, Jim Wilson, the nephew to Sam Wilson, developed AIDS, which caused him to die.
No. But like, I was looking at the IMDb for this show because you gave me a good transition into that. And like, do you know what some of the new people they introduced in the show are best known for?
Oh, you mean Torres?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a certain bird, a penguin? No. Mockingbird? No. He's a falcon.
Yeah. And he's in the new Top Gun, apparently.
Weird. But yeah, no, they're setting up a Young Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we have Wiccan, Speed, a younger Falcon.
We have Kate Bishop coming. Cassie Lang is already a thing, and they just aged her up.
And Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting
Young Avengers champions. Let's go.
Ironheart.
I'm kind of excited for it.
I can definitely see why they want to do it because A, they're younger actors that they can build up to do their own thing, but also it keeps them in contract for longer.
Yeah.
Because like Robert Downey Jr. started this in his 40s, so like there was like an immediate expiration date for him.
Mm-hmm. And remember, back before the MCU was as big as it was and everybody was as emotionally attached to his Iron Man, they said, yeah, we want these movies to go on forever like the comics, so if somebody gets too old, we're just going to James Bond it.
Yeah, but now with Chadwick Boseman and Robert Downey Jr. stepping away from the role, I have a feeling that we're probably gonna get eventually to the point where they may want to do a Secret Wars and we'll have a full reboot of the MCU at least.
Potential.
I can see that happening at least for the MCU, but like, or they just continuously make new characters like Marvel Comics always used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Before the goddamn event era in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Because Marvel was making brand new superheroes all the way through the 90s that were popular and like they did pretty well. Sleepwalker, Darkhawk, the Slingers. They had a full year worth of issues.
And I mean, they've been trying to get back to that in the 2010s. It's just like only a handful of them have taken off.
It's a weird thing because if they make a brand new character unrelated to anyone else, people don't buy them. But if they make a brand new character and make them related to someone else, people complain, why can't they just be their own thing? Why they gotta be this?
Mm-hmm. Like Miss Marvel and Miles, yeah, genuinely accepted now. But like Kid Nova, Amadeus Cho as the Hulk, there's a couple other ones that I don't even remember, but like you get the point of that. Like not a lot of people took to these other people still don't like Ironheart. There's a lot of people out there who are still like, yeah, I was turned off to her because she debuted in the Iron Man book as an Iron Man replacement, and I wasn't reading Iron Man because I liked the Iron Man suit. I was reading it because I liked Tony Stark as a character. And
that's fair. But they never once said, like, oh, this is a person who's going to permanently replace Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
This is a character. We're going to tell her story for a bit. It's related thematically to Iron Man. You'll probably enjoy it. But no, Marvel Comics is also doing a lot of things that's going to, I don't want to say lay groundwork, but it's definitely laying ideas down for future MCU stuff because MCU's the moneymaker now.
Yeah, they've kind of over the last like 5 years, I would say, realized that they are no longer the thing, and they have converted to, oh, we are the thing that makes the thing happen.
We're the testing ground. We're gonna make cool stories. We're gonna do our own thing, but we're the testing ground for ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And we have gotten bigger and dumber ideas for Marvel Comics in the last 5 years than we've had in the last 20.
So I know we already did a wrestling reference, but I have to say it. Marvel Comics is now the NXT of Marvel.
Oof. Don't let it sink in. Don't let it sink in. All right. All right. Okay, we're good. We're good. But no, like, you can definitely see Krakoa and all the Hawks and Pox stuff leading to what like the second phase of X-Men stuff might lead to.
I feel like we'll get a trilogy of X-Men films, maybe with a couple spin-offs, one-shot films or streaming shows, and then there will be a point at the end of that trilogy where Professor X is like, all right, this is enough. I'm contacting Moira and we're doing Krakoa.
All right. This plan hasn't worked. I thought we'd give it a try just in case. All right. Puts on the big old hat. Gets in the jumpsuit.
Gets in Phantom X's body.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, fucking X-Men, fucking dumb shit. I don't think Professor Xavier's not in Phantom X's body. He's in his own body now.
Really?
Yeah, because you haven't gotten to this yet, but one of the early goings on in Dawn of X. Do you care? Because you're about to read it.
How many times do I have to say it? I literally do not give a shit about spoilers.
I just didn't know how hype you were about X-Men, and I just wanted to make sure.
I'm plenty hype, but here's the thing. If it works, it'll still work if I know about it.
Right. Professor Xavier gets assassinated by outside forces. Because, again, they're starting up a new nation, and everybody's going like, what the fuck, bro? So he gets assassinated, and he's the person who, he's like default person to implant consciousness back into husks. So they're freaking out just a little bit. So they get him a new body, and they get like Emma Frost implants the memory. So he has a new Xavier body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But getting back to the thing, I want to say, like, it's really interesting because in the Captain America movies, I would definitely say Sam is my favorite character. I love all of Sam's little bits and character building and gags in the Captain America movies. However, at least in this first episode, I was way more interested in what was going on with Bucky.
Because, like, there's a subtlety to what Sam's going through that you only realize. I was watching a person talk about it, and like they pointed out, Sam gave up control of Captain America. So he is going full on control of this family thing as sort of compensation, as like overcompensating of feeling like he failed. Feeling like he's not enough, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not enough to be Captain America, but damn it, I'm saving my family home. That kind of thing.
Yeah. By the way, I'm pretty sure the house they used for the exterior shot of Sam's family home, I'm pretty sure that's the same house they used for Bubba's home in Forrest Gump.
It might be. I mean, it's Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a second. They're in Louisiana. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but how many of those theorist YouTube people do you think are going to go like, wait a second, who's also in Louisiana? Fucking Gambit.
No, not Gambit. Dr. Voodoo.
Oh, I'd fucking love a Dr. Voodoo. Ooh.
Who would you
what
want
if
to
they
play
do Strange
Dr.
Academy?
Who would you want to play Dr. Voodoo?
Ooh, I don't know. I would like someone semi-unknown.
Yeah. See, I picture Dr. Voodoo as kind of an older guy, so part of me wants to say Morgan Freeman, but like Morgan Freeman is ancient.
Yeah, no, it needs to be someone of that kind of level, but like not athletic, because he looks dope. He's cool. He's a cool character.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's extremely svelte, I would say, is how he's drawn.
He's skeletal.
Yeah. But like, can we talk about the Bucky stuff for a little bit?
Dear God, like this is some of the most well-filmed shit I think has been in an MCU thing in a bit.
Literally, I had to sit through the credits to make sure it wasn't the Russos.
Like that the whole therapy session. Somewhat like I saw people joking about like, oh man, they're pretty close, and it's like, no, That's the point. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable.
Because that's how therapy feels. Speaking as somebody who has been in therapy.
But yeah,
like,
Bucky trying to process the fact that he wasn't in control, but he still did all these horrible shit. It's just like, damn.
And like, I saw somebody post a collage like with the thing from this episode lined up with in Civil War, where Tony is like trying to kill him, and he goes, "Do you even remember their faces?" And literally Bucky just says, "I remember all of them."
Yeah, he was abused and traumatized. It's a fucked up situation.
And like people are making some interesting memes out of that. Is like
oh, hey, Spider Ham.
It's for audio listeners, it's a meme of the shot of Bucky waking up, and then John Mulaney in some movie, and a kid asks him, "Is Bucky okay?" And he goes, "No, Bucky's not okay. He's having a lot of trouble."
Yep. But no, I just realized he's sleeping on the floor.
Yeah. And remember what we were talking about before we started recording?
What? Oh yeah.
Making yourself purposefully uncomfortable because you don't want to keep sleeping.
Yeah, that was I was talking about whenever I'm tired in the morning and I want to go back to bed, I sleep on the couch because it's uncomfortable. So when I wake back up, I go like, fuck this shit and get up.
But like Bucky's taking that to another level by sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
In the living room with the TV on.
Yeah, it is. Like, you pointing that out, damn, that's fucking intense. But like that whole therapy session, I love the therapist knows that she can't be gentle with Bucky. He needs someone to actually shit on him for him to understand what's going on.
Like, she literally goes, "I was a soldier too. I know what it's like to see a lot of dead bodies. Dude, you have to get over it and make some fucking friends."
Also, he's an old man with a flip phone.
I didn't notice that until the second watch. Like, I watched it once yesterday and then once today before we were gonna get on. And I literally saw her close it and I was like, is that a fucking BlackBerry from 2008?
It might be a foldable. It might be. I doubt it though.
But she's like, yeah, you have less than 10 phone numbers in here and you're ignoring Sam's texts.
I like the idea of Sam genuinely trying to reach out to Bucky and be a friend. Especially because remember what Sam was doing in Winter Soldier. He was
poking the bear.
He was also he was a therapy session dude for veterans. You know?
Yeah, in Winter Soldier. That's how Steve finds him.
But like Sam knows what Bucky. At least Sam has an idea of what Bucky's feeling and going. This is a very fantastical version of that and everything. But like another interesting thing is just like this deals and tackles like veteran issues in a. It's not dwelling on it like it's like that's the point of the show, but like it is acknowledging like veterans go through shit because once they're used up by the military, they're often discarded and not given a second thought. It's like, thank you for your service. You fought for the country. Now you're gonna get shit treatment at hospitals because we don't want to put the money in. We'd rather put money into more tanks.
Like the VA, the headquarters of the VA, like, I don't know if this is still the case. It probably is. But I remember like 5 years ago seeing a report that they had yet to convert to a digital system, and there was so much physical paper in the headquarters of the VA that the floors on the second floor were in danger of caving in.
Yeah. Like, veterans don't get the treatment they should in America. Because it's the military.
I'm not a fan of the military-industrial complex, but I definitely support veterans as long as they're not racist assholes.
Yeah, veterans are I hate to put it this way, are in a similar place of like sweatshop laborers. They're just casualties of companies trying to make as much money as they want. Like they are seen as disposable by the military industrial complex, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you got a general in your name. But I really enjoyed a lot of the Bucky stuff. Also, Bucky's old friend. He's dope. I liked him.
Yeah. I found that whole thing with the Japanese man, because he is Japanese, or at least they're eating at a Japanese restaurant because they talk about mochi. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say it's a Chinese restaurant, but mochi is a Japanese dish.
No, it's Japanese. They were also eating sushi.
But like the whole thing with him, did you realize about his son, or did it take you seeing the shrine to figure it out?
I got it when they first mentioned it because the look on Bucky's face was like, oh no, please don't let it be the guy I just had a nightmare about.
See, I was looking at another tab, so I missed that face the first time. And then I didn't realize it until I saw the shrine. And I was like, oh, I'm probably a fucking idiot, aren't I?
Yep. But
the scene with the girl was really cute, and like it reminded me of like all those like stories about immortal characters, about them living for so long and not being able to exactly talk about it and only half joking about it. And I was like, that's a good angle for Bucky. I wonder why that's not played up more. And like I went, getting back to the IMDb thing, I went and looked up that actress. Do you know what she's most known for?
What?
She was a side character in Zoe 101.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she was Vicky in Zoe 101.
That's kind of sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, but like she was great. She was great in that episode. And also, looking at the IMDb spoilers, she is in at least the next 5 episodes.
Hell yeah. I mean, she seemed very sweet and like the kind of person that Bucky would need in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like just someone who doesn't bullshit him, but just works with him to an extent, you know?
Is playful, is interested, but isn't pushy, isn't proddy.
Right. Oh god, I just realized what the name of the first episode is.
New World Order. But yeah, that whole sequence was great, especially the bit that introduces them with the guy who's like, I'm unique. It's like Monique, and it's like nobody fucking cares. Get out of here. Stop trying to use an old man's trash can.
Yeah, it's just kind of a funny, weird, like old man complaint thing of New York that you can see, but like it paints a good picture.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely liked all that kind of stuff. I also like how they wanted to show like, hey, this is going to be the action Disney Plus series, because we had WandaVision, which was pure psychological stuff until like the last episode. This is going like, hey, no, you're gonna get action, and we had the fucking flight scene with Falcon. Like, goddamn,
oh my god, that was amazing. That was theater quality.
The only complaint I have is like there was just one section with Red Wing where he looked a little bit more CG than like the composite was just a little off. They not a huge complaint. It's just like one little tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like overall, fantastic, interesting concept of basically a chase, but with jetpacks.
Yeah, and Batroc in a wingsuit that looks like one of his costumes.
I'm so glad Batroc is just the villain that always comes back in the MCU.
He's just always around doing something.
Like Batroc is the Paste Pot Pete of the MCU.
Eventually, he'll be working for MODOK.
Oh yeah. Or here's the thing: what if we get Thunderbolts? What if he's on the Thunderbolts?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But also, I really want a Disney Plus Gwenpool series. I'm not gonna stop pushing for it ever.
Here's the thing, though, with Gwenpool, that takes like 5 fucking layers of meta text to even get the joke.
Oh yeah, it'll take another I'd say 5 phases before we're ready for it. But come on, hurry up and get there.
Because you need to know Deadpool,
mm-hmm.
and you need to know that Deadpool is a reference to there's parts of inspiration of Slade Wilson to Wade Wilson. Then you need to know who Gwen Stacy is. Then you need to know that they also made a spider version of Gwen Stacy in an alternate universe. You also need to know about multiple universes within Marvel continuity. And then you also need to know about goddamn, what was it? It was Deadpool verse or something like that, where where she was just a single cover character made up for that and nothing else. Like they had no plans for her, and they just had to turn her into a character.
Yeah. And then her first appearance is in a Howard the Duck one-shot.
And now she's a mutant on Krakoa.
Ain't comics wonderful?
Oh boy. Yeah, no. Gwenpool is like almost peak dumb shit in comic.
But like, we keep straying away from him, and I apologize for people who are probably listening to this wanting us to stay on topic. I'm trying to keep the ship steered as best I can. But I'm not even the host of this. God, what the fuck? But like, I like how Bucky's trying to make amends. Like when we first saw him with the old man, I thought it was just a war buddy he was visiting, which makes that reveal all the more better. And then the thing with the senator was great, just like a nice little bit that they could have released as like a Marvel one shot if they were still doing those. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? I don't know. It's gone.
But no, the flight scene was great. The action was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And goddamn, just Batroc jumping between planes and like escaping from Sam as much as possible. It was just, it was a good ass scene. It was good.
And Sam constantly being just one step behind him. And like that one scene where he's like, he won't catch us now, and then the camera just pans over and Sam's like, "What's up?"
Goddamn, that was perfect. It was good. It was just solid. Like a lot of this is just really good shit, you know?
Yeah. Like I liked WandaVision. I'm invested in this. I want to see where this goes. Because like the Cap movies have always been the movies that gelled the best with me in the MCU. Because they're the most grounded ones, and I'm a grounded kind of guy. But like, this show takes it to a whole other level, and I'm super into that.
Right. This stuff, okay, people were going on about like WandaVision, like, oh, it's laying up the next phase of the MCU. It's laying out this kind of stuff. No, WandaVision was a personal drama between Wanda and her grief. This is the shit that's going to be laying down groundwork because we're getting Zemo back, Batroc's coming back in, showing that, hey, the criminal underground and underworld is still running and functioning even after the blip and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably getting Madripoor. We're also getting the new geopolitical climate of this post-blip world.
But also it's about these two guys processing shit that was out of their control and trying to pick up the pieces.
Yeah. And it's great because it doesn't skimp on that character bit for the action. It's like going from like an old 70s comic where it was just like get everything in one issue, just fucking go, to a modern comic where it is a little bit more decompressed and you can let the characters breathe and like
it's a done in one versus a 5-issue arc.
And honestly, I think that's what people have been wanting from the MCU ever since maybe Civil War, because once those movies, like once that started happening, the Marvel movies just got more and more dense.
I mean,
like
how often have you heard the joke that Avengers 2012 is literally just a TV pilot?
I mean, it even looks like one, the way Joss Whedon and his director of photography shot it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this is also the first series that I go like, oh, there can be a sequel. There can be a season 2.
Yeah.
Because WandaVision, that's a one and done. There's no more. I don't want another season of WandaVision.
They might make one, but I don't want it.
No, I don't want it. I don't want that. I like it is as it's perfect little like scrumptious little snack. It's a good nugget of a show.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many interesting things about what. Also, hey, Jim Rhodes was in here.
Yeah, so good to see him.
Just out and about.
And I love how he's like low-key trying to warn Sam that the US agent thing is gonna happen. He's like, why'd you give up the shield? You know what these people are like.
You know what they're gonna do. Also, bro, that's like thematic hinting at Armor Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are gonna get an Armor Wars starring James Rhodes, and for people who don't know the basic setup of Armor Wars, Tony Stark's designs and technology gets leaked, and all these armored villains start implementing their tech in their suits, and Tony goes like, nope, you're not going to use my tech to hurt people. I'm going to hunt you down and disable your armor.
Yeah. At the same time as he's trying to legally patent them, and he's like, oh shit, I have to use patents now.
No, in the original, he never patents the Iron Man armor, and he tells his lawyers, sue, what can we do legally to do whatever you can legally to get this solved? And like they were going like, we can do it without the fact that you haven't patented it, but it's going to take like 5 years.
Mm.
And so he goes like, fuck it, Iron Man.
Okay.
That's also where we got basically the 90s suit for Iron Man.
Is that the modular suit?
It's remember the Iron Man cartoon?
Yeah.
It's that suit.
Yeah, that's the modular armor.
Yeah.
But getting back to this, what else can we talk about here?
I liked the US agent's costume. It looks like a solid US agent costume.
I love how it looks like the Age of Ultron going forward Captain America costume from the back. Because, like, low-key, you see him from the back first, and it kind of feels like, okay, maybe this will be all right. And then you see him from the front, and you see how different it is, and you see his fucking face barely squeezing into that helmet, and you're just like, oh no, you're not okay. You're wrong.
This is wrong. This is bad. No.
Yeah, to quote Mr. Stark, if I can find the quote real quick because I have it. That shield doesn't belong to you. You don't deserve it.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting, especially if like they play up the more jingoistic aspects of US Agent.
Mm.
You know what I would love to see at the end? A 3-way fight. US Agent, Sam in his Cap costume, and Bucky in this Cap costume, because goddamn,
Cap costume.
I love this. I love this design.
Really?
It's so good. I don't know what it is. It's a solid. It's not because it's Captain America, but it's not Steve's Cap.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
See, like, I like the Bucky Cap costume. I can appreciate it, but it's not one of my favorite costumes ever.
I think it's also better when it's drawn by the man who designed it.
You know, I came into, well, that can be said about just about any modern costume, but I came into comics right at the tail end of Bucky Cap. Like, I came in when Steve Rogers' Super Soldier was a thing.
But, like, Alex Ross drawing that costume looks amazing.
True.
But again, Alex Ross drawing anything is just amazing. You know?
Also, gotta love that brand synergy in the memes.
God damn, it's good. His ears even look weird in the costume.
Yeah. It looks like his entire face is trying to ooze out of the helmet.
Yeah, he looks uncomfortable, and I get that. I can see that being kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think he's going to be a bad. I don't think he's going to be a bad guy. I think he's just going to be very jingoistic and he's going to be kind of how like US Agent tends to be in the comics. He works with the heroes
well, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know the best right from wrong.
He works with the heroes, but the heroes don't like working with him, but they'll put up with it because you know what, he helps enough. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely feel like this is a good first episode. I was about to say issue.
It does feel that way. It's structured just like this would be if it was a comic.
Yeah, the opening action scene, introducing all the side characters that you need, going back and forth with different art cells for each perspective. It's just solid.
And then the last page reveal.
Yeah, fucking fantastic. But also like they did something cool. Like Captain America, a lot of his movies deal with some Americana. There's some bits of Americana symbolism throughout his movies. But like Sam got his own version of that. Like when he was going to the docks to the boat, it felt like good, wholesome Sam Rockwell levels of Americana, you know?
Mm-hmm. Especially with that track they had in the background. That's something I forgot to mention. The music in the show is really good so far.
But yeah, no, like this seems to be gearing up to something interesting, especially with the Flag Smashers.
Mm-hmm.
Because like on one level, they're not wrong, borders are bullshit, but
like they're going about it the wrong way.
Also their reasoning behind it's dumb, because apparently like there's been press releases that their reasoning is it was in the show that things were better in the blip
because everything was chaos.
Not because like nobody was fighting, there was no wars. It's like, yeah, you don't want a natural disaster though to keep the peace. That's what Doomsday Clock is all about, bro.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, I really love Sam's line in reaction to that of like, well, trust me, every time something gets better for one group, it gets worse for the rest.
Yep. I also like their masks.
Yeah.
The masks are good.
I would not be surprised if that becomes like a Comic-Con staple of just like person in Flag Smasher mask.
It is going to be a version of the V for Vendetta mask.
Whoa.
But it's not going to be as popular as the V mask because it's the fucking V mask, you know?
Oh my god, dude. I was in Target the other day, and Roblox is fucking selling a pixelated version of that mask as a toy.
DC better fucking do something, bro.
Yeah, that was a moment, let me tell you.
Jesus.
So I'm just checking the pegs for AEW figures, and there's nothing there, and then I turn around, and it's like, what the fuck?
Because, like, that's the thing people don't really... Because, like, that mask is synonymous with Anonymous now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's V. It's from a comic book written by an anarchist. Like a full-on leftist, fuck the government anarchist.
Yep.
And it becomes like the symbol of like 4chan, which is a chuddy fucking right-wing place. Like it's just. Have you seen the ironic thing about the whole Matrix and Red Pill stuff that people pointed out with all that stuff?
I might have. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, backstory: these right-wing people, these new right, alt-right kind of people, Nazis. They're Nazis. Fuck it. It's easier to say.
And it's also true.
What?
And it's also true.
Basically, we're saying, yo, take the red pill, as in, hey, listen to these ideas and believe in them. These racist immigrants are bullshit, kind of like those stupid ideas.
Saying that that is the truth, and the blue pill is lying to yourself because, lol, we're Reds and Democrats like the immigrants, so they're the blue pill.
Right. But here's the thing. The Matrix is directed by 2 trans women.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what the color of the pill is for hormone replacement therapy for estrogen?
Is it red?
It's a little red pill. So all these right-wing guys
people parodied that by like adding in different colors. Like, oh, are you going to take the black pill? Or are you going to take the white pill? Or are you going to take the chartreuse pill?
Dude, legitimately, there is a group of people who go on about the fucking black pill. They're incels.
It's hilarious.
People don't want to fuck you, not because you're ugly. It's because you have a shitty ass personality.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't go outside.
But like, getting back on topic.
Falcon Winter Soldier, it lays out a good bit of groundwork for the show itself, not a ton of stuff for the MCU as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But
like, such solid character work. And it's all right there in episode 1. You get what's going on with these guys, you know where they've come from, and you're pretty sure where it's gonna go. Like, Sam's story is gonna be about him learning to accept the shield and take up that responsibility, that there are some things that he needs to deal with and some things that he can't deal with that he's not capable of controlling. Bucky's story is going to be about him learning to open up to people and have more of a circle of friends and letting them help him deal with his shit.
Yep. It's real solid. I can't wait to see the next episode. Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. And I feel sorry for the fact that you had to wait this long to, like, you're going like, oh man, I wonder if they're going to recommend it.
Did they like it? Did they like this thing that they're not even bothering to do a spoiler-free discussion of?
Oh man, I guess I gotta keep listening until they say, "Yo, go watch the show."
That's exactly what happened. We don't have a million comments yelling at us for not doing a spoiler warning.
But that's kind of it for like the moving pictures version of Marvel. But we've been in our private chat's been talking about a recent Marvel book you've been reading. You want to talk about some Hawks and Poxen?
Yeah, like I read the event double mini series that kicks off the current X-Men status quo, where the X-Men books are basically a television show being showrun by Jonathan Hickman. Like literally that's his job title at Marvel right now is head of X.
How much you want to bet that they said like, "Oh, Hickman, we're going to call you the head of X-Men," and he was like, "No, we need to make it aesthetically similar to everything else. I'm just the head of X."
Yeah. And apparently like his creative process is just like it's very similar to AEW actually. He has a point A and a point B, and he's told the other writers like we're going to figure out the bullet points together, but as for how we get to all those bullet points, you guys get to decide that. I'm not going to read over your script and go, you can't do this, you can't do that. You get to do whatever you want as long as you get us from point A to point B.
And honestly, other than like one series that was kind of like it was because I've been keeping up with it. It's been pretty fucking solid.
But like for those of you who haven't read House of X and Powers of 10, but both of those are spelled with an X.
So it could also be Powers of X. So I'm just saying, like if you call it Powers of X, you're not wrong, but yeah.
To do a Commander Tyler oversimplification, the basic story is Moira McTaggart has been retconned to be a mutant whose power is reincarnation, and she has had 9 lives where she has seen the universe and the X-Men end in multiple horrible ways, and she is trying now in her 10th life, which a precog predicted will be her last, to do the one thing she thinks might actually make everything work out okay. And that is that she is united Professor X and Magneto, and they have made the living mutant island Krakoa into a nation state for all mutants, including the baddies. And they're all just hanging out there being good, and Hawks and Pox is about exploring Moira's multiple timelines and Krakoa becoming the nation that it's going to be in the current X-Men status quo.
And the logistics of it, just all of it was like, okay, how do they talk to Krakoa?
There's like a lot of info dumping in it. It's a very wordy book, and there are some pages that are just straight up like photocopies of legal documents, in-universe legal documents.
It is honestly a very dry kind of story, but it draws you. It drew me in at least.
If you like world building, you'll probably get into it. However, if you need really big character stuff, maybe you'll like the Moira stuff. Maybe you'll be tuned out by that point.
There are some good character bits and moments, like the scene where Professor Xavier and Magneto are talking to Cyclops, going like, "Hey, they're trying to build this giant fuck off Sentinel. We need you to build a team and go take care of it." And he goes like, "Does it need to be done?" And they go like, "Yeah, then it'll be done." This is like perfect, pure soldier kind of like, God damn, give me an alternate universe where Cyclops is a Captain America.
And then like also just the opening scene where people are arriving on Krakoa and you see just a bunch of kids run up and hug Wolverine.
It's nice. It's sweet. Like there's a bunch of just good, solid little moments like that. Like when Apocalypse first steps onto Krakoa.
And everybody's like, "Are you fucking sure about this, Charles?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." And then they explain things to him, and they're like, "So, are you gonna play nice? Are you cool with it?" And he's like, "Why the fuck wouldn't I? This is what I've wanted you guys to do literally the entire time."
Yeah. Legitimately. I love Apocalypse. He is one of the best characters of Dawn of X.
Like there's another great moment with him when they're deciding what to do with Sabretooth, because there's a whole subplot about Sabretooth in this. And they're like deciding the rules of Krakoa to base his sentence around, and they're like, yo, we probably shouldn't kill humans. That should probably be a general rule, is just don't kill humans. Because that's another thing they implement in this, is now literally no mutant can die. There's a way to instantly be brought back, basically. Death is not a problem for the X-Men anymore.
But there's also a reason. There's a reason why they did it, because that's the thing that always stops the X-Men of mutants succeeding, is basically they get killed too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, they just need to survive long enough to actually like build a power base.
But theoretically, humans don't have that. If they die, they're dead. They're gone. Or at least if you're not a named Marvel character, you die, you're dead, you're gone. So one of the first rules of Krakoa is don't kill humans. And as they're going around the various tables of the council and they're being like, you cool with this? Yeah, obviously. Yeah, we should do this. Yeah, we're cool. They get to Apocalypse and they're like, are you cool with this, man? You've historically had issues with humans. And he's like, this affects me in no way. I do not think about humans. I don't give a shit about them. You only think I have a problem with humans because if a human gets in my way, I will kill them if it's gonna solve the problem instantly.
Humans are like cattle to him.
Yeah.
They're just an animal. Which is a fascinating character thing, because like the main logic behind it is less like, oh, we need to care about humans, but more they can't be brought back. So it's a kindness that we give to them.
Yeah. And that's the whole tone of the book, is like, we are asserting our dominance, but also we're doing it in the nicest way possible. Like, you're going to respect us. We're going to be a nation state. And in exchange, you will get these nice drugs that we've discovered.
Yep. We're going to be a nation state. We're going to do all these things. Every mutant gets citizenship of our new nation. And you can't do anything about it. Fuck you.
And if you try and fuck with us in any way, we will rain down hellfire upon you. Literally. We have the Hellfire Club. They're right over here.
Oh yeah, and they're the smugglers. Like they're the people who are like. There's so much interesting shit that Hickman set up in this, because Emma Frost is using the Hellfire Club to be the international distributor of all these goods and services that Krakoa is doing to all these different nations. But some of these nations didn't agree about Krakoa existing, so they don't want to do business with them.
I fucking love that page too, where it's like all the nations that didn't agree, and it's like reason they didn't agree: political, ideological, and then you get to Wakanda, and it's just, we do not need mutant drugs.
And it makes sense. Wakanda's advanced enough. It's like, fuck it, Krakoa, whatever.
Yeah.
But they realize, the people in these places would still like the drugs, so Sebastian Shaw is the black market dealer for them, so they still get the fucking money.
Yeah.
Man, it's a brilliant little layer thing, and it plays in it's so interesting. It's good.
And then also just Hickman low-key setting up that, like, yeah, we're done with relationship drama between most of these people. We're not gonna have Scott and Logan fighting over Jean all the time. They're just a polyamorous couple now. They have a house on the moon. Whatever.
Yeah, like it's heavily, like, they haven't officially said, that's poly, but it's heavily implied and that kind of stuff, which is fun.
Like, I was telling you this on a private chat the other night, but like, I really want, once we're like a little further into this run, because we're already pretty knee deep in it, but when we're like waist deep, I want them to reveal that Jean Grey is pregnant, and then just have Scott and Logan be like, yo, we're just both gonna be supportive husband of pregnant woman, and we're not gonna argue about whose it is. We'll wait until the baby's born to find out, and whoever is the dad, we're not gonna be mad at them.
We're gonna be co-dads.
Have a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, but like, there's so many, like, again, like you said earlier, they brought in all the baddies. So like, Mr. Sinister's just hanging about,
and he's the gayest fucking guy ever in this comic, and I love it.
Goddamn. Okay, X-Men always has had like gay undertones. This is not just gay overtones, because you have Emma Frost just walking around, sashaying like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking excellence. You have Mr. Sinister walking around camp as fuck. Not saying that
dumb cape.
you also have several major prominent characters being LGBT just in general. Like North Star is a leader of a team. Dawkins also on that team. He's by
I'm sure Iceman's around somewhere.
Iceman's on Marauders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's with Kate Pride. Oh, yeah, they officially confirmed Kate Pride is bisexual, which has always been the rumor since she was incepted in the 80s by Chris Claremont. Let's see. Who else? Dawkins on a team. He's by. Prodigy's on a team. I'm pretty sure he's by Speed, who is Prodigy's boyfriend. They're in a relationship right now. He's bi.
Okay. That's cool.
Wiccan's around. He's gay. Like,
there's a bunch of Scarlet Witch's kids are LGBT. They're in that community. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Also, Mystique is around. She's gender fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And like, big red flag plot point that they've set up in this is Mystique wants her girlfriend back.
Yeah.
So like, that's dope. That's cool.
Do you think Hickman would be brave enough to actually canonize the Mystique is Nightcrawler's dad thing?
Well, considering that the canon's already that Mystique is the mom, and there's another demon. There's a demon, half mutant dude who is Nightcrawler's dad.
Okay, but you know the story behind that, right? Like,
yeah,
it was gonna be that Mystique was Nightcrawler's dad and Destiny was his mom, but they got cold feet and switched it to the red dude being the dad at the last second.
Yeah, no, I don't think they said what it was until Azazel.
Yeah. He's in First Class, and they hint at that in First Class, and then never follow up on it.
Yeah, he is a mutant, so he could be around. He's also a demon. Oh no, he is on the island. He was in the portal with a bunch of other villains.
Okay, but like, yeah, that miniseries establishing it is great. I've already got the first 3 trades of Dawn of X, which is essentially their version of Transformers: The IDW collection for this.
Yeah.
Because, like, for those of you who don't read comics are very hard to follow in proper order. So for stuff that's supposed to be, like, a big, complicated, expanding thing, companies will put out trades specifically for that. Especially licensed books. Like, IDW is known for having licensed books, so they have Transformers, G.I. Joe, and TMNT, the IDW collections, which are really nice, really big hardcover that collect everything in the proper suggested reading order. And Boom is actually doing this with their Power Rangers. They're releasing literal tomes of just like Boom Power Rangers year 1, year 2, year 3. I think we're on year 4 now. And now for X-Men, for this whole like X-Men where it's literally being treated like a TV show, you have Dawn of X. And then that concludes, and there's an event called Sword of X, or Swords of X, plural. And now we're going into the Reign of X, correct?
Yep, Reign of X. We're currently in the Reign of X because it's basically everything's kind of set up. We have a status quo. Let's play with it some.
Mm-hmm.
And all these different characters are going on different stories. Like Wolverine's fighting vampires right now and a bunch of other shit.
Also, I never got to the end of that point that I had started working towards. I have the first 3 trades of Dawn of X currently inbound to my house via the Amazon.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I've been keeping up with the Hickman X stuff since Hawks and Pox. So I'm just inundated on it. Like, I've been keeping up with it week to week as much as I can.
So what's current like?
What?
So what is current like? Talk about that a little bit.
Currently, right now, Sword is back in business. They're bringing back Sword, and it is the Mutant Space Program.
Okay.
It is Krakoa NASA.
Awesome.
But it's also multiverse, so they do a bunch of shit with that. But Sword has been in a holding pattern for the last couple issues, even though it just started because of King in Black. King in Black is heavily associated with space and cosmic stuff, so like Sword, it makes sense for Sword.
They're waiting for Donny Cates to get done with his shit.
Yeah. Wolverine is like good old school noir-y Wolverine kind of shit, but it's also dealing with like dealing with like Wolverine-esque plot lines, like, oh, he goes into a Canadian town, like a ran down Canadian bar where no one should know who Wolverine is, but everybody in the bar purposefully went to that bar to kill Wolverine, to like fuck with Wolverine because he fucked with their lives somewhat earlier.
Excellent.
Like perfect Wolverine kind of story. He's also he's very suspicious of Red Omega. He's running about. Also, they're changing how they do the X-Men. The X-Men is going to be voted on by the citizens of Krakoa.
Really?
Yeah, the citizens of Krakoa are voting on who's going to be on the X-Men. And that's going to pop off at Hellfire Gala.
Okay.
But
isn't that what that's about? Is that literally just whoever has the fanciest dress gets to be an X-Man?
Well, we know Emma's an X-Men then, because she has 3 fancy dresses.
I have the most fancy dresses, therefore I should lead the X-Men.
But like they set up a lot of interesting things that are gonna lead into the future. Hickman was setting up one thing, but then Dan Slott fucked it up.
Fuck Dan Slott. All my homies hate Dan Slott.
Yeah. Dan Slott, you may have written my favorite Silver Surfer run. Still fuck you.
Yeah.
But like Brew is currently the king of the Brood.
Wait, Edge and Christian are in the Marvel Universe?
No, do you know what the Brood are?
I do not.
Okay, hold on. You know the aliens from Alien?
Yeah. Oh no, I do know what the Brood are.
Yeah. They're that, but they have mind control powers. But a member of the Brood who is a mutant Brew, like he's a mutant, just not a mutant human. He's a mutant Brew.
Okay.
Brood named Brew. So he was accepted by the X-Men because he's technically a mutant. Because you know the whole thing with mutants, right?
Okay, stop me if I'm wrong. But my understanding of it is not only like the next step in human evolution, but also it was triggered by the Celestials fucking around with human genetics.
To an extent, yes. Basically, Celestials came to Earth, and they basically created the Eternals, okay? And they just were like, all right, cool, you guys are Eternals. You do this, this, and this. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll do that. While a different Celestial was fucking about with human DNA and implanted the possibility for mutation. Not necessarily making mutants, but planting the seed of possibility. And humanity had to mutate on it. But that also means Celestials probably also did that to a bunch of other cultures and people. But
have there been mutant Shi'ar?
Maybe Guardian?
Maybe.
I don't know. But Brew basically becomes king of the Brood, meaning that the Brood are also kind of controlled a little bit, kind of thing. Also, another multiversal island of crazy fuck off mutants who have been lost in a hell dimension for like a millennia are now back on Earth. So that's fun.
The Exiles?
No. This is the people that Apocalypse is. This is the 4 Horsemen. His first 4 Horsemen. It's his wife.
That's gonna be awkward for Moira, because like, didn't she shack up with Apocalypse in one of her timelines?
Yeah, but she also did it to goddamn Magneto and Professor Xavier. But like so they're on Earth now again, but they're also like battle hardened bastards who just go like, you don't know what we've been through. It's fucking hell. We don't give a shit.
So basically they need a Bucky therapist.
Yeah. And they have a government similar to Krakoa, but there's a requirement for being on the council other than just being a prominent member of the of like mutant kind. You have to be an Omega level mutant. Okay. So there's that going on. So like a bunch of new Omega level mutants are on Earth and we don't know who they are. Also Apocalypse is diving in and rediscovering mutant magic.
Oh.
You know how like Dr. Voodoo has voodoo magic and Doctor Strange kind of has like general master of sorcery and Scarlet Witch has like chaos magic. Yeah, Apocalypse is diving into mutant magic, focusing on mutant beings.
Is Apocalypse being tutored by Magic, the character?
No, Magic's doing something else involving Magic. She's a teacher at Strange Academy.
Hey, cool.
Yeah. Bunch of shit like that. It's fucking weird. It's fucking big shit, man. But right now, I kind of they're after Sword of X. That's the big thing. Is like the other island came over, and several characters have like bits and pieces that are like new and different.
Okay, so
Cypher has a wife now.
who?
Cypher.
Oh yes, okay.
Oh, there's a thing I find interesting and fascinating. Okay, so you know of the fastball special.
Yeah.
Apparently, the fastball special is the first step of mutants realizing a concept that's basically called a mutant machine. Like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a mutant machine, a mutant technology, where mutants combine their powers in specific ways to accomplish a goal. And normally it's in combat, it's teamwork and stuff like that. But
Like
now that they have
rebirthing thing?
Yeah, that's technically a piece of mutant technology now. The sword stuff is also kind of related to that. But like it's mutants pulling their powers together to do something greater than the part.
That's super fascinating. And you know that's something Hickman has probably wanted to do forever. Because you know the whole story with Hickman, right?
No.
So like Hickman didn't want to be a comic writer. He was a comic fan who was a graphic designer by trade. And he wrote a letter to Marvel basically saying like, hey, the X-Men are my favorite thing you do. My two favorite things are in comics are the X-Men and the Legion of Superheroes. Man likes giant fucking casts. But the X-Men are fucking broken right now. And here's how you fix them. And he pitched Hoxpox to Marvel before Genosha was a thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. And Marvel was like, that's a bit ambitious. We're not doing that. But would you like a job? And and that's how he became a writer. And finally, after all these years, Marvel has given him the X-Men. And he is just having the time of his life. And a lot of people are low-key assuming this might be his final Marvel project, and after this, he might move to DC so he can eventually get Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, I can. You know what? Yeah, but like, no, Hickman, don't go. We gave them Brian Michael Bendis. He can stay over there. Go do Legion of Superheroes and come back. You need to fix Fantastic Four again. That's already broken.
He's literally Mr. Incredible. Can the room stay clean for 5 minutes?
It's fucking true. God damn it. Whenever you get like at any one point in time, there has to be one ongoing Marvel book that's just slightly disappointing.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, fantastic right now. It's great. All the X-Men books, great. Fantastic. Wonderful. Fantastic Four. Okay.
Yeah.
Thor, fantastic. Wonderful. Amazing.
It is a damn shame.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of Hawks and Box has just been great. And now we have a comic that we can run through while we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I'm running through other comics. I'll be switching back and forth between it and thing. Like right now, I've been reading a DC story, or rather rereading a DC story, because I read it when it came out, but I got the trade for cheap. So I've been rereading it. And it's Superman Hell on Earth, which was the first event of the Superman books in the New 52. And I hated it at the time. I thought it was the worst thing ever. Like, I legitimately thought it ruined Supergirl for a few years until I went back and went like, oh no, this book was massively helped by that event. Maybe I should go back and look at that event and see if it's not as bad as I remember at the time. It is. It's actually still really terrible. It just so happens that like the Supergirl issues are the only good issues of the event.
Oof.
Yeah, because it's a 14-issue event. It runs through like four or six, somewhere around there, issues of Superman, Superboy, and Supergirl. And like I'm about halfway through it now, and the Superman issues are like offensively bad. Like Superman is being characterized as the biggest asshole in the world, like the most entitled brat millennial reporter you've ever seen. And like he's also got a bit of an incel attitude towards Lois Lane, and it's uncomfortable. And the Superboy stuff isn't bad, but it's just generic as fuck. Especially with how it keeps trying to lean into like what was going on in Teen Titans at the time and the new origin for Superboy. And it just feels kind of lame and miasmic. But then you read the Supergirl stuff, and it's like consistently building into what was going on with her character at the time, because the new 52 version of Supergirl, which is still the current version that they're using in Infinite Frontier now, she at that point was like still going through like the anger denial stages of grieving for Krypton. And so like this guy shows up who tells her like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Krypton and I have a plan to bring it back, but it's going to involve fucking over your cousin." And you can believe her doing that because she doesn't even like it. She only just recently accepted that that's even her cousin. She thought he was an imposter for the first few arcs of her series.
Because she knew Clark as like a babby, right?
Yeah, and she's like, "Who the fuck is this old dude who doesn't even speak Kryptonian with the proper accent?" And uh, and you can like believe that she's going along with Hell and basically being his henchman, and like knowing what's coming at the end of the event and like how it affects her. Like that's keeping me through this book, is just feeling bad for Kara. And like I don't know. I can't recommend this to people, but like you won't understand what's going on in the Supergirl issues if you don't read the other issues. And like this is an integral part of that run. And I made a whole video talking about how New 52 Supergirl is low-key the best version of Supergirl, and you should all read that run. So I don't know where to say if I recommend it or not. I'm just gonna say read at your own risk and walk away.
And I say read Hawks and Pox. But
yeah, I'll probably read the first volume of Dawn of X when I'm done with that, and then I have a new volume of My Hero Academia that I want to read, so I'll probably do that.
But this has been Margin Media's No Price Podcast, and we don't have much more to say. So Vac, tell the people where they can find you.
Hey everybody, I'm the Vacuuminator. I do stuff on this channel. I am on the Modular Media Wrestling Podcast with this guy as well. And we talk about wrestling there, as we tried to sneak into here several times. I'm also the host of Twit This Week in Toku, which is myself and Miriam of Bustercore discussing all the latest news and episodes from the wonderful world of live-action Japanese special effects. Basically, if you heard of Power Rangers, it's that kind of stuff. We talk about that kind of stuff. And then I also have my own solo stuff. I do reviews and video analysis on my channel, although I'm currently on hiatus. But if you want to check out my backlog, you can do so at youtube.com/thevacuuminator, which is spelled THEVACUUMINATOR. I'm also on social media at The Vacuuminator on Twitter, where I just make jokes and occasionally give informed thoughts on things, but I try to save that back for the video audio content as much as possible. And I also do action figure photography. You can find that on Instagram at _vacuuminator.
Hell yeah. Hey, howdy, but folks, I'm Chris Boingo Gaston. I do video essays and editorials on my YouTube channel. You can find that at Boingo Writer. You can also follow me on Twitter at Boingo_Writer. Follow me on Instagram at Boingo_Writer. And as always, you can join my Discord server. A link to that is in the description. And this has been Modular Media's No Price Podcast. Any final thoughts, Vac?
This was an hour and a half, and it probably would have been just an hour were it not for all our off-topic rambling.
Oh, very much so. But you know what they say. It's kind of the fun of it.